Everyone, today we are talking about Moses and the burning bush, which is a story about how after he leaves Egypt and stuff like that, Moses is, I don't know, he's taking care of some livestock or something, and he sees this bush that's on fire, but despite the fact that it's on fire, it's not going anywhere, right? The fire's just burning, and it's not, burning up the bush that's on fire. And so Moses approaches it, and he finds out that it's a message from God, right? That God is talking to him through this fancy burning bush. And what God has to say is that the people of Israel, your like nation, the country you're a part of, those folks are unfortunately slaves right now in Egypt, and God didn't want those people to be slaves. And so he said, Moses, I don't want these people to be slaves, but they're going to need a leader to help guide them and free them and save them from slavery. And you know what? I think that you are just the leader to help me out. Now, Moses might be a name that you've heard before. Moses might be someone who you've heard talked about before. He brought the 10 Commandments, and he had these burning bushes. In a couple weeks, we'll talk about the plagues and all these different things that Moses did. And this is when he first starts that journey. This is when he first starts the thing of doing the things that God is asking. And do you know what his response is when God says, "Hey, I want you to help save your people"? His response was, "I don't think I can do it. I don't think that I have what it takes to do what you're asking me to do." And that's a feeling that maybe you have felt before too. It's a feeling that I felt before, and that's my object for the day. It's this, which is a picture of a book. It's a book cover put on this picture, so it's larger. But I don't know if you'll be able to see. If you look at the bottom, I'll wiggle it around so it's really easy to read, up and down, left and right. All right. If you look on the bottom, you'll see that that's my name on it in the written by section. And that's because I actually wrote a book. It's about the history of Lutherans in this area in Western New York. And what happened was my aunt, who's the first name here, the Juliana Fiddler White at the top, she has written history books before. It's one of the hobbies that she has. It's something that she does. And so the company that publishes these books came to her and they said, "We'd like you to do another one. Do you have any ideas?" And she had this idea to do one on the history of the church. But she figured she would need some help with that from someone who knew the history of the church and could research the history of the church with her and had a churchy background. And she figured that I could be the person to help her out with that. And the first thing I thought of when she said, "Hey, can you help me write this book?" was, goodness no, of course not. I couldn't do that, right? Writing a book seems like a really big thing. It seemed like a really big task to undertake. I wouldn't know where to begin. I didn't know what to do. Even though I'd have someone doing it with me who'd done it before, it seemed like something I wouldn't be able to do. And so it took some convincing. She had to convince me to help her with it and to do it. And of course, I was really glad that I did it, right? How often is that the case, right? The thing that you're reluctant to do, the thing that you don't think you're up to, you're really happy you did once it's all done. Anyway, I was really happy that I did it in the end, but I won't forget how it was that I was afraid to give it a try, and how I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to do it, how I was afraid that I'd let her down or not be able to do it, get in the middle of it and not know how to finish and just kind of be stuck. And so I was really hesitant, and Moses was the same way. And in the same way that at the end of the time I was able to write this book, with God's help, Moses was able to do exactly what God wanted him to do, which was to help the people of Israel, to help free them from slavery, and to help lead them to a new place. I think that that's something that we can all think about and remember from time to time, that sometimes when we're hesitant to do things, there's a good reason, right? It's not something that we should do. Sometimes that's our brain telling us, no, that's a bad idea, right? Like jumping off a bridge or something like that. But there's other things that are good things that we're hesitant to do because we don't know if we're going to be up to it. We don't know if we're good enough. And I think what Moses can remind us is that we should give it a try, right? That we can oftentimes do more than we think we can, that God supports us and helps us to do more than we think we can, and that the next time you're afraid to try something because you don't think you're good enough, maybe you should just go ahead and give it a try. Because with God, we can do things that we don't think we can do. With God, we can do more than we think we're going to be able to do. We can write books. Moses freed a bunch of people, and who knows what God has in store for you. Bye, everyone.